Good Thursday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversation Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Well, we made it over the hump, and we're in the home stretch toward the weekend. Of course, you have your news headlines coming up on this Thursday. I have a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By, and in today's Entertainment Spotlight, you've been part of my conversation with author Angela Jackson Brown. Enjoy today's program. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Thursday headlines. In national news, U.S. inflation surges again in June, raising risk for economy. U.S. inflation surged to a new four-decade high in June because of rising prices of gas, food, and rent, squeezing household budgets, and pressuring the Federal Reserve to raise interest rates aggressively, trends that raise the risk of a recession. The government's Consumer Price Index soared to 9.1% over the past year, the biggest yearly increase since 1981, with nearly half of the increase due to higher energy costs. Lower income and Black and Hispanic Americans have been hit especially hard, says the Associated Press, since a disproportionate share of their income goes toward essentials such as transportation, housing, and food. But with the cost of many goods and services rising faster than average incomes, a vast majority of Americans are feeling the pinch in their daily routines. Accelerating inflation is a vexing problem for the Federal Reserve, too. The Fed is already engaged in the fastest series of interest rate hikes in 3 decades, which it hopes will cool inflation by tamping down borrowing and spending by consumers and businesses. The U.S. economy shrank in the first 3 months of the year, and many analysts believe the trend continued in the second quarter. The likelihood of larger rate hikes this year pushed stock indexes lower in afternoon trading on Wednesday. The central bank is expected to raise its key short-term rate later this month by a hefty 3/4 of a point, as it did last month. As consumer confidence in the economy declines, so has President Joe Biden's approval rating, posing a major political threat to Democrats in the November congressional elections. 40% of Americans said in June that they thought tackling inflation should be a top government priority this year, up from just 14% who said so in December. After years of low prices, a swift rebound from the 2020 pandemic recession, combined with supply chain snags, ignited inflation. Consumers unleashed a wave of pent-up spending, spurred by vast federal aid, ultra-low borrowing costs, and savings they had built up while hunkering down. As housebound Americans spent heavily on furniture, appliances, and exercise equipment, factories and shipping companies struggled to keep up, and prices for goods soared. Russia's war against Ukraine further magnified the energy and food prices, says the Associated Press. In more national news, judge rejects Amber Heard's request to set aside Depp win. A Virginia judge on Wednesday rejected an effort by actress Amber Heard to set aside the $10 million judgment awarded against her in favor of her ex-husband Johnny Depp. Depp won a defamation suit against Heard last month in a high-profile civil trial. Heard won a smaller $2 million judgment on a counterclaim she filed against Depp. Earlier this month, Heard filed a motion seeking to have Depp's verdict set aside or have a mistrial declared. Her lawyers cited multiple factors, including an apparent case of mistaken identity with one of the jurors. In more national news, Manchin cites inflation concerns and rolling budget talks anew. Senator Joe Manchin rolled his budget talks with Democratic leaders anew Wednesday, saying the latest inflation surge makes him more cautious than I've ever been about agreeing to federal spending increases that could drive consumer costs even higher. The West Virginia Democrat, who single-handedly stopped the Democrats' roughly $2 trillion 10-year social and environmental bill last year, has been bargaining with the Senate Majority Leader over a new economic package that will be around half that size. Everything needs to be scrubbed, anything that can be inflationary, Manchin told reporters on Wednesday. He said that while agreed-on provisions aimed at containing pharmaceutical prices should remain, is there anything more we can do? I don't know. But I'm very, very cautious, he said. In entertainment news, Emmy surprises, Squid Game's Dave Chappelle, This Is Us. The Emmy Award nominations announced this week included some snubs and surprises. This Is Us and Blackish will walk away forever limply, and Nathan Lane made history as the most nominated Best Comedy Guest Actor in Emmy history. Squid Game, the brutal Netflix survival drama about desperate adults competing in deadly children's games for a chance to escape death, won in its bid to become the first non-English language drama series ever nominated for top drama. And finally, in business news, stocks end lower as Wall Street braces for a big hike in rates. Stocks capped another shaky day on Wall Street with more losses Wednesday after a highly anticipated report on inflation turned out to be even worse than expected. The S&P 500 ended 0.4% lower, its fourth consecutive drop, after tumbling as much as 1.6% earlier. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 0.7%, while the Nasdaq Composite dropped 0.2%, erasing nearly all of an early 2.1% loss. All told, the S&P 500 fell 17 points to 3,802, the Dow dropped 209 points to 30,773, and the Nasdaq lost 17 points to close at 11,248. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. Enjoy. Good Thursday, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Words I Choose to Live By. It's time to show that you appreciate the power of grace by not allowing the past to continue to hold you hostage. The key has been given to you already to live a life free from guilt, shame, and regrets, but now it's time for you to use it. Have an amazing Thursday. Author Angela Jackson Brown is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight right here on Conversation Daily News. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Author Angela Jackson Brown joined me on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about her literary journey and new book, The Light Always Breaks. Here's a bit of our conversation. Talk to us about this journey for you, Angela. What has it been like for you to do what you love as a storyteller and to share that with us?
Oh, my goodness. You know, this dream of being a writer actually started with my dad. My dad just saw in me this innate ability to tell stories. And from the time I was, old enough to hold a pencil, he would always say to me, "You're going to be a writer someday." And I listened to that message, and I always believed I was a writer. It wasn't until I was in my 40s that I actually pursued publication, because I knew I was a writer. Daddy said so. I didn't need readers to tell me that, but I started to realize that, maybe that dream needed to go beyond just my inner circle. And so when I published Drinking from a Bitter Cup, it just opened me up to this world of not just writing for myself or for family, but connecting with other people and hearing how my characters affected them in various ways. So for me, I say it's almost like a ministry in terms of it's my way to speak truth, but do it in a way that oftentimes is not as confrontational, as getting in someone's face.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you for tuning into this edition of Conversation Daily News. We'll have you guys on tomorrow to wrap up this week. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversation Daily News today. Let's make today amazing. Take care.